Hello everyone, today we'll be looking into 3 missing cases that occurred in Oregon. Oregon is a state known for its famous and breathtaking landscapes, including the rugged coastline along the Pacific Ocean, the majestic Cascade Range with its numerous waterfalls, and Mount Hood, that's the state's highest peak, and the picturesque Crater Lake, which is the deepest lake in the United States. The state's diverse geography also includes forests, rivers, lakes, and high desert areas. This idea was given to me by a subscriber named Butterfly and Things. I do read your guys' comments, so if you guys have any ideas for new videos, let me know down below. Our first disappearance case is about Michael Bryson. Michael Bryson was 27 years old when he went missing on August 5, 2020 during a party at Hobo Campground, which his parents described as a rave. He was last seen by his parents on August 3, 2020, when he stopped by his parents' house before riding up with a friend for a week-long birthday party and camping trip at a campground, according to Parish Bryson. Michael Bryson wandered away from the campsite around 4:30 a.m. Michael left his camping gear at the campground, and his phone had been powered off for several days. In December of 2020, following up on a tip, the sheriff's office found multiple items of clothing in the woods Bryson was last seen wearing, according to Parish Bryson. He was skeptical about the tip and said he thinks the items were planted by someone. Bryson is described to be 6 foot 2 inches tall, about 180 pounds, with short brown hair and hazel eyes. He was last seen wearing rainbow Crocs, black athletic shorts, and possibly wearing a brown corduroy baseball cap. Michael Bryson is still missing to this day. There have been no new leads other than December 2020. If you guys want to stay up to date or want to join a group, there's a group on Facebook called Let's Find Michael Bryson, which has over 24.5k members. Our next disappearance case is about Kyron Richard Harmon. Kyron was a 7-year-old boy who lived in Portland, Oregon with his mother, Desiree Young, and stepfather, Tony Harmon. He attended Skyline Elementary School and was known as a friendly and outgoing child. On the morning of June 4, 2010, Kyron was excited because it was the school's science fair, and he was looking forward to presenting his project. Kyron was last seen by his stepmother, Terry Moulton Harmon, who had brought him to school that morning. She reported that she saw him near his classroom between 8:45 a.m. and 8:50 a.m. However, when Kyron's mother arrived to pick him up from school at around 3:30 p.m., he was nowhere to be found. The school staff realized he had been absent from the classes that day. Law enforcement immediately launched an extensive search effort involving local, state, and federal agencies. The search spanned the area surrounding the school, nearby woods, and even the Columbia River. Flyers with Kyron's photo were distributed throughout the region, and the case received significant media coverage. As the investigation progressed, suspicions began to center around Kyron's stepmother, Terry Moulton Harmon. Her behavior raised red flags. For example, she reportedly failed a polygraph test and was observed purchasing a burner phone after Kyron's disappearance. Terry's relationship with Kyron's father, Kane Harmon, was strained, and she moved out of the family home shortly after Kyron vanished. While Terry Harmon was never been officially charged in connection with Kyron's disappearance, she has remained a person of interest in the case. Law enforcement focused on her in part due to the inconsistencies in her statements and her actions on the day Kyron went missing. The case took a new twist when it was reported that Terry had allegedly tried to hire a landscaper to kill her husband, Kane Harmon, although she was never charged in that plot. Despite extensive efforts by law enforcement and the community, Kyron Harmon's whereabouts remain unknown. The case went cold over time, and the lack of concrete evidence has made it incredibly difficult to determine what happened to him. His disappearance was deeply affected his family, the local community, and people nationwide. To this day, Kyron is still missing. Our last case is about Brooke Suzanne Wahlberger. Brooke was a 19-year-old college student who was visiting home for the summer. On May 24, 2004, Brooke had volunteered to help out her sister and brother-in-law who managed the apartment complex in Corvallis. The 19-year-old devout Mormon was last seen cleaning lampposts in the complex parking lot. That's where her flip-flops were found after she failed to show up for lunch. With her keys and purse still in the apartment and her car still in the complex lot, her family knew something had happened to her. Her parents reported her missing. Law enforcement quickly launched a search operation and her case received widespread media coverage. Flyers with Brooks' photos were distributed and the community rallied to help in the search. Nothing came about the search, no body was found. So detectives would look the other way to see if there was a sex offender in the area. They interviewed potential suspects and they were released. But police soon focused on a man named Courtney. He was a registered sex offender. After New Mexico authorities circulated details about an abduction and rape, he had been arrested for there. The victim was just like Brooke Wilberger, was blue-eyed, blonde, and details of the crime were similar. So Corvallis police began looking into Courtney's background and his whereabouts around the time of Wilberger's disappearance. In the search, they were able to find that Courtney was in the area when Brooke went missing. When they searched Courtney's van, they found both Brooks and also Courtney's DNA. He was arrested on 19 counts relating to Wilberger's disappearance, including aggravated murder, kidnapping, sodomy, rape, and sexual abuse, even though her body had not been found. Courtney admitted what he did, and he went into details as to what happened that day. Now, the viewer discretion is advised as the details are somewhat disturbing. Courtney stated he abducted the blonde 19-year-old college student at knife point, bound her in duct tape in his van, drove her into the woods, kept her overnight, and then raped and bludgeoned her to death. In his romanticized account of what happened, Courtney hadn't decided to kill her until he saw how hard she fought against being raped. And then he hid her body in such a way that it was unlikely it would ever have been found. Courtney also stated that he was surprised that she fought so hard. Courtney's agreement to tell the officials where he had left Wilberger's body after kidnapping, raping, and murdering her was part of a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. The Wilberger family was involved in this process and agreed with the decision, and that Courtney would have a sentence of true life. Courtney, who was 42 at the time, pled guilty to aggravated murder and received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. The district attorney would not disclose specifically where Brooks' remains were found. The only details he did give were that the location was in the county and on private property. My condolences go out to family and friends of Michael, Chiron, and Brooke. I hope for the cases that are still open that they do get resolved and the family gets the closure that they deserve. These cases are not just a remembrance of the victims, but also a reminder to remain vigilant and safe whenever we are out of our homes. Even in our homes, we're not truly safe. Always remain vigilant. Keep that one side of your head that's off. Listen to your surroundings. Understand what happens. Remember where you keep things. Remember if you kept the door unlocked. Remember if the window was open. These are all things that you can do in order to protect yourself. Always look out for those cars that are watching you, those people that are standing out. Always trust your gut. And last of all, remember, we live in a world filled with monsters. Monsters that come in different shapes and sizes. Even with knowing this fact, the scariest part of it all is we can't tell who is a monster and who isn't. Once again, be careful, be safe, be aware.